Hello, and welcome back to the content closet, to my closet. My name's Bridger Frederick, and today I'm going to make some very bold claims on this video. And the first one of those claims is that I believe I have discovered the purpose to life. And I also believe that by the end of this video, I can convince you that I'm not completely full of shit, and that is true. And I will also make the claim that I can explain exactly how I got there and that it's a replicable process, that it's something anyone can do if they apply I guess there's no steps necessarily. There's no steps to finding your purpose in life, but there is, I guess, a lot of value in a story, and we'll just let you be the judge. I think that's fair. Anyways, so the only way this is going to make sense, bear with me, please. Watch as much or all of the videos you can, because if you skip to the end, it's not going to make any sense. But I really do feel as though this is the most valuable video I have ever, perhaps will ever make, and that you're going to get value out of it and enjoy it if you stick around to the end. And I'm going to describe exactly how I went from basically having my greatest aspiration be not to kill myself that day, how I went from living a life where it was an absolute battle every single day just to talk myself out of committing suicide, basically. I mean, it was a struggle. I dreamed of it. It sounded lovely. It sounded like it would be the ultimate escape to living a life now where I find deep, meaningful bliss, love, and purpose, basically in little doses throughout the entire day. And I have a thirst and a lust for life that I never even knew was possible prior to having a spinal cord injury, let alone after. I mean, I've never ever been happier, but there was still a missing ingredient there, which was purpose. It's what I've been on a quest for since as young as I can remember. I just felt purposelessness. I always felt as though there was something missing in my life. And when I was a child, that led me to wanting to live like a survival lifestyle. I became very obsessed with like survival and living in nature and being out in the woods and like sourcing your own food and building your own shelter. That was, I don't know what it was, but something inside my childlike mind could find purpose in nothing else. I felt like an insane person. I felt completely isolated and separated from society, living in like suburbia and going to school and watching my parents grind away, doing jobs, they less than loved for never enough money to have all the things they wanted. And I felt crazy. Like from as young as I can remember, I just felt really, detached from reality and almost disassociated from everyone else because I just couldn't see the point in what we were doing. And it brought me incredible anguish and depression and led to drug abuse issues and addiction issues. And like I was never a desperate addict that was living only moment to moment to get their next high or anything like that. I just was bored and without purpose and found different ways to fill that time with either substances or behaviors or all sort of food. Food was huge for me. I suffered from all manner, different range of, excessive, I don't know if you'd call them eating disorders, but I would certainly call them eating disorders, just not having a proper relationship with food. And the end of the story, that story is this purposelessness and this quest for purpose is both my fuel for good and bad in my life. It led me to travel around the world and seek crazy, new, awesome experiences and do, seek near death type situations as well. It pushed me into survival situations. It really made me push the envelope of what I was capable of as well as what I was willing to do. But at the same time, it fueled a ton of anxiety and depression and negative behavior and insomnia and fear and worry. I have suffered such an immense amount of time in my life, especially like if you looked at percentage of happiness versus percentage of true miserable suffering, it would be heavily weighted towards suffering. And when I say suffering, I don't mean like a lot of that is like maybe actual physical pain, but I'm talking like just manifested pain where I was scared for what was going to happen, anxious about what was happening, worried about what people would think, certain that no one would love me if they truly knew who I was. And it was just this whole negative cycle that I was trapped in. And it was all kind of born from, the seeds of some small traumas that happened in my childhoods, for sure. And that's something that I'm going to go into in depth. I just wrote an entire book about it. So I will be publishing that soon and explore this angle or this whole story from that trauma angle in that book. But for now, I'm going to explore it from this other significant factor in my life, which was purposelessness. I just found no purpose to life, to just accumulate more material goods, and I didn't see anyone in my life living with purpose. I didn't understand everything. There was just pointlessness to everything. And maybe it's hard for some people to understand, but if you're anything like me, you probably understand instantly when I say that there's just seems to be something missing. And I'm pretty sure I found that missing ingredient, but let me explain kind of how I got there so it makes any sense whatsoever, and also so I can kind of explain why I believe this, because it's, I don't know, I feel like I've put a puzzle together that I've been working on for my entire life, and I'm just excited to share. So how this all started, how I begin to come to this conclusion is actually through breath work and heat therapy, which I've been like sauna, breath work and sauna. Heat therapy is a stupid way of putting that, but I have been practicing breath work inside the sauna for years, and it's been kind of the one thing that I can go back to when I really want to push the envelope of my understanding and derive meaning in my life. I'm not saying there's like my purpose has anything to do with sauna. I will explain how I got to this conclusion by using the sauna. So there's a really powerful, there is many very powerful ways to do breath work, and I'm not going to go into all the exact details, but because what I've been doing lately is the simplest one that I've ever done, and all it is while I'm in the sauna, I take a huge deep breath, and then one more little inhale, and I squeeze from the I squeeze from the base of my spine as hard as I can with all the muscles like around my pelvis, and squeeze with all of my abdominal muscles and my diaphragm and my chest and my neck, and squeeze all the way up and try to force the cerebral spinal fluid from the bottom of my spine all the way up and into my brain. And then when I do that for about 10-15 seconds, I let a long, slow exhale as long as I can, and then I try to just absorb and live in that moment. And the thing is, when you're really, really hot, especially once you've gone, 30 minutes at 180 degrees, and that's about my threshold for when the panic button is turned on. So that's the magic ingredient. The sitting in the sauna until you're fully panicking and convincing yourself every 5 seconds, like, I have to get out now. And there's a million justifications going through your head and a million reasons why it's okay to get out. I didn't sleep well last night. I'm dehydrated. Like, I'll take a shower and come back in. And, there's a million reasons why I can't last for one more second. But by doing that little breathwork thing, that's like a combination of something that Andrew Huberman talks about, the double inhale, and then Joe Dispenza meditation style, like meditation. I'll include some links to both their to their YouTube channels below, because they're amazing and far better practitioners of this type of stuff than myself, I'm sure. But the whole point is it draws me into that one single moment, and I just have to make it 1 second further. I just have to go 1 second longer inside the sauna. And the way that I do that is through that breath work and then attaching some sort of mantra to it. I use all sorts of different ones, but the one that I found the most effective is just repeating to myself, and I'll explain exactly why I do this and what the thinking is behind it. But I repeat to myself in that moment, as I exhale, I respond to every situation with calm courage and deep integrity. And I just sit in the moment and repeat that mantra over and over again so that I can rewire my brain in moments of panic such as this, when all I want to do is move and breathe and freak out and get out of the sauna and escape what feels like a life-threatening situation. It's a manufactured life-threatening situation. It's not it's a far cry from being life-threatening. I'm not that tough. But it feels like it. It's very threatening to your being. And in that moment, rather than allow my body to go into fight or flight mode, I am veering it off. I'm taking a fork in the road and going towards relaxation, bliss, calmness, creativity, and I'm wiring my brain in that state of anxiety to go a fully different direction. And it is awesome. It's an amazing practice, and it is always the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life. Every single time I do it, that moment that I'm in then is the hardest thing I've ever done. Spending one more single second in the heat once that panic button's turned on is the hardest thing ever. It's incredibly difficult. And I start panicking at about 30 minutes. And today, when all of this was inspired, and I'll explain what happened and the substances involved, because that's going to be very important. I've got an amazing kind of, well, it's very dangerous as well. So I don't want to, I'm going to tell you anyways, because you have to be free to make your own decisions, and I want to share the information exactly as it is. But yeah, I kind of started to go on a tangent there, but we'll get to the substances involved. But the important thing is, the point that I'm making is, it's this incredible practice of bringing yourself into, today I started panicking in about 30 minutes and was able to not kind of started panicking. I started full-blown panicking, like justifying every single 5 seconds why I needed to get out, trying to move, trying to distract myself, so trying to put my head down. I just have to constantly remind myself, get back up in, deep breath out, double inhale, and relax. Bring myself back to the moment. repeat the mantra inside my head, a variety of different mantras. I try different mantras all the time, but I respond to every situation with calm courage and deep integrity. Works very well. And I was able to get to an hour. And that last 2 minutes that I did, minutes 58 and 59 were actually like the hardest minutes of my entire life. And that has been true of every time I've pushed that far into the sauna. But they're the hardest minutes every time. And so in these moments and a large culmination of events kind of assimilated in my mind, and I just saw clear as day what the purpose in life truly was. And I have to attribute it to it's called The Last Dance. It's a series about Michael Jordan. The Michael Jordan docuseries combined with this magical substance mixture that I've taken 2 times now, and both times had some of the most significant, beautiful experiences of my life. And that mixture is Syrian rue seeds, and psilocybin mushrooms in very small amounts, both of them, like microdose. And that's because, and I got to put a massive disclaimer on this, I know for a fact that Syrian rue can be extremely dangerous to take with certain medications or combine with other substances for reasons I'll explain right now, but you really need to do your research. I am not recommending this to anyone. I'm the farthest cry from a doctor. I'm hardly even high school educated dude sitting inside a closet explaining taking drugs in a sauna to you. I am not recommending this to anyone whatsoever, but I will explain to you my reasoning behind it, why I chose to do it, and the amazing results that I've had just from the 2 times I've done it. And yeah, so I'll hop into it. So it's called Syrian rue, and it is a MAOI, which is a monoamine oxidase inhibitor. And this is going to get a little bit heady, but I'll keep it super simple because my understanding of it is very simplified because, yeah, I am not a whatever it is type of person that studies neurologist, plant person, it doesn't matter. Anyways, it's a monoamine oxidase inhibitor. And what monoamine oxidase is a enzyme inside your brain, inside your body, that is responsible for breaking down other neurotransmitters like dopamine, serotonin, and then also other exogenous substances like DMT and psilocybin. I have never used it with DMT, but an example of a monoamine oxidase inhibitor, an MOAI, is the vine that they pair with the DMT containing plant ayahuasca. So when DMT, if you were to just eat some DMT, your body would digest it or break it down. This enzyme, this monoamine oxidase, would break it down, and it would have no effect whatsoever in you. But you put this MAO inhibitor in your body, and then that doesn't happen. It doesn't break down all of the DMT or the psilocybin, which is the active ingredient in magic mushrooms, and it significantly enhances the effect of mushrooms or allows the effect of DMT to happen at all, as well as simultaneously just boosting the natural amounts of serotonin and dopamine that are available for your brain to use inside you. So it's been a very just generally pleasant thing to consume prior to consuming the drug-containing substances that I've chosen, which is psilocybin mushrooms. So why is this? Could this be dangerous? There's tons of counter indications to taking an MAOI. such as SSRIs or any other type of drug that is going to increase, like largely increase the amount of dopamine or serotonin available inside your brain. Drugs like, ADHD medication, a lot of other antidepressants, other MAOIs that they pharmaceutically prescribe, any sort of, there's so many, it's quite a involved list, and it can be extremely dangerous to consume certain pharmaceuticals or drugs or substances with a strong MAOI. So just don't do this, or do your research, but don't just jump into, don't just buy a bunch of Syrian rue seeds and consume it without consulting someone or something. That's the disclaimer, so just throwing it out there. But what I did was brew a tea of Syrian rue seeds, about 1.5 grams of them, drink it, and then take about 75 milligrams of dried mushroom substance. And the results were extremely profound both times I did it. I drank the MAOI prior to a workout, had an awesome workout, and allowed it to take effect inside my body, because I get very intense muscle spasms when I do it, and didn't want to have that during the workout. Sorry, not when I do the MAOI, when I do the combination. As soon as I eat the mushroom ingredient, I start getting very bad muscle spasms. And so I would eat the mushroom post-workout, go in the sauna, and have a deep meditation, and both times it has been extremely insightful and interesting, and I'm going to share those exact insights with you right now. And the main one was it just giving me the ability for the first time in my entire life to believe with 100% certainty that the very next moment of my life is the most important moment that's ever going to happen. And I don't know how to stress this enough. I don't know how to communicate the feeling of this, but as soon as you're living a life where you believe that the very next moment is going to be the most important moment of your life, you just open up this massive well of energy and possibility and awareness and just focus that I never even knew was humanly possible. And that's why I mentioned The Last Dance with Michael Jordan, because I think this was kind of I know for a fact this was like his secret sauce, is always believing that the very next moment was like your destiny, or your most important moment that you're ever going to live, and that it was going to change the rest of your life forever. And I know that sounds a bit woo-woo, or obvious even when you hear someone say it, but it's a lot easier said than done. It's difficult to be so present and to believe so for example, with healing spinal cord injury, I now have incorporated into my meditation and breath work and exercise practice, incorporated the belief that in 1 millisecond from now is highly likely, or allowing it to be possible, that that very next second is the moment that I will piece together the puzzle and be able to spontaneously heal my spinal cord injury from the inside out. And that belief, that it is so powerful in bringing me into the present moment and giving me the extra gas to push through a workout, to push deeper into a meditation, to hold my breath longer for free diving. It's the fuel to the fire. It's the absolute just nuclear energy at the core of your being to push you through those hardest moments. If you believe the very next millisecond is the second that your spinal cord injury will heal, if you just push that 1 second farther, if you hold your breath for 1 second longer, if you stay in the sauna for 1 second longer, whatever it is, if you allow yourself to accept to the core of your being that the next second is the defining second of your life, then nothing can stop you. It's the ultimate just expansion of your willpower. If you think of your willpower as this finite lake inside your mind from which you draw from every single day to complete all your tasks, and the goal is to, kind of deplete it and dig it a little bit deeper, dig that lake a little bit deeper by pushing one bit past what you did yesterday. This is like turning that into an ocean instantaneously, because you're unlocking all the possibilities. Like, you're unlocking infinite possibilities. And I don't know if I'm doing a great job at explaining this. I hope it's making perfectly sense, but I promise you, this is just the first kind of layer of the onion, and we're going to get a lot deeper in this video. It's going to get a lot crazier, and I think it's going to get a lot more potently useful. So what does this mean? What does it mean to be able to live entirely in the present moment? Well, I think that inside that is the opportunity to find purpose on a daily basis, on a second-to-second basis. And what I mean is, I'm going to throw out something that's maybe going to be a little bit controversial, but I believe that we get to the end of our life and we die, or we're about to die. Whenever we're about to face death, people say that your life flashes before your eyes, and I believe that it's absolutely true. I've experienced that on numerous kind of either drug-induced near-death experiences or actual real-life, like, I think I'm going to die very soon experiences that I've had. And your life flashes before your eyes. And that's the moment where you're presented with a fork in the road. And if you're actually dying, you're about to die, or you believe that you're going to die, your life flashes before your eyes, and you see a fork in the road, and you have an opportunity to choose light or dark. And whatever you choose is like you're primed to you've primed your entire life for this exact moment, and whatever you believe you're deserving of, or what you're subconsciously programmed to choose, is the final choice that you make. And I have no idea what happens, after you die, but I do think we have complete and total autonomy and free will, and that our entire life is kind of this training ground for this single final test, this final moment where we decide in our hearts what we've done and what we're worthy of, light or dark. The age-old story of heaven or hell, this innate thing that we have kind of built into all of our myths and legends and stories and religions, is kind of something that seems to be, universally understood by people, is that there is a dichotomy of possibility of things that happen after you die. Maybe everything just goes black, but I think whether or not, there's no way of settling that debate except for dying. And that believing otherwise, believing that there's something beyond, is a much healthier, happier way to live. And I'm not necessarily religious in any one religion. I don't understand a lot about religion, to be totally honest with you. But I think defining, like, having some sort of meaning beyond our life is just, it just makes everything easier. So I'm going to choose that. And anyways, the point is that I do think that because of free will, I have no idea what happens after we die, but that at that moment, we're given a choice. And that everything that leads every moment in our life up until then is kind of an exercise in being able to make the right choice in that moment. So if you prime your brain for your entire life, if every single time you're faced with the choice to do right or to do wrong, and you choose wrong, you're just leading yourself down this path over and over again. I don't think we can hide from ourselves in that moment. I don't think we can hide the honesty. I think it's a subconscious choice. We just choose the path. So I don't know where it left off, but basically we reach that moment and we kind of just go with whatever we have programmed ourselves to know. We decide what we deserve in that moment, and every single second leading up to that is practice. It's all practice because, like I said, if you choose... Sorry, I got lost there because my camera stopped recording and I had to start recording again. I got momentarily distracted. Gather my thoughts. And we're good to go. So, this idea of bringing yourself into the moment and then choosing the hard path, choosing not necessarily the hard path, but choosing what you've manufactured as the right path. So it's a artificially created environment where staying and persevering through something extremely what it feels life-threatening is what the right thing to do. And so you're creating this neural pathway inside your brain that tells your body, every time I'm presented with a threatening or scary or intense or overwhelming situation, like perhaps death would be, I choose calm courage and deep integrity, and I route it through that neural pathway. It's just priming your brain and readying it. And it's not like you have to live everything in life for your very last moment, unless, the very last moment is the next moment, then you'd probably want to be living that way. And I just think it's kind of, I don't know, I thought it was an interesting and beautiful way to look at things. And what I wanted to share, or what I would define as like the purpose of life is, and why I mentioned Michael Jordan, is at some point you have to just decide that the only purpose is to live in the moment for the love of the game. You have to decide that you just want to be in this moment, about to live your most important moment for no other reason than it feels so goddamn good to play. And you have to win the battle against yourself in every single one of those moments. There's always there's just the nature of life. There's always this battle going on inside of us. There's always, this pros versus cons battle to indulge, or not necessarily indulge. We're either living a routine that we've programmed ourselves to do, or we're deciding between delaying a reward for great gratification or giving ourselves an instant reward. At least that's kind of what I found. And this new perspective that I've only recently gained through the practice of breath work combined with microdosing psilocybin and Syrian rue and MAOI has given me like almost a whole new lease on life. Not instantaneously. This has been like years in the making, building on top of previously, shattered beliefs and reconstituted beliefs. And this is just what I've come up with, and it feels really, really positive. It feels really good. It feels like I can absolutely run with this perspective and benefit immensely from it, moment to moment, day to day, long term. And I just wanted to share it with you and hopefully meet you wherever you're at and bring you the purpose that I was so desperately missing for the vast majority of my life. I know this video has kind of rattled on in every sort of direction without a whole lot of chronological coherence. But yeah, I just wanted to get it raw, get it captured, and share share the perspective that I've worked towards for decades, and that is to wake up in the morning with purpose, to go to bed at night with purpose, to feel bliss and love and happiness for the vast majority of my day, and to very quickly derail myself from negative, impulsive emotions into highly positive, delayed gratification emotions, or just to immerse myself in appreciation and gratitude and love and happiness for and just contentedness for whatever is happening and what I'm about to do. And the only way that I've been able to do that is to just layer on these practices of bringing myself into the present moment for the sake of playing the game. I just want to win the game of life against myself, like the only person. And the reason I describe it as a game is because being able to do this is like the ultimate life hack or game-winning hack. Is whoever is the most present in a game or in a competitive environment is going to be the one with the greatest edge. The person who believes beyond a shadow of a doubt that the next moment is the most important moment in their life, and therefore they're able to be 100% inside of this second and absorbed in it, is probably going to be the winner of nearly any competition, whether that's an internal competition with yourself or an actual sports competition or selling something or whatever it is that gets you going in the world. I think that the game theory and wanting to win and needing to win and only needing it for the love of it is kind of the whole purpose of life. And the lack of purpose is derived in prescribing meaning to winning other than just the competition. I don't know if that makes sense, but it makes sense when I think it. It doesn't necessarily make sense when I say it. But yeah, when you're doing it for the accolades or the rewards or the money or the appreciation by people or that moment of glory, then all of it's lost. You're living for the future. You're gone. You're defeated already in a weird way because you're not doing it for the moment. You're doing it for another moment you're separated from completely. You're doing it for future rewards when the most important thing in life is to reap the beautiful gift of life, the reward of it right now, right this second. And I guess that's kind of all I had to share, is that if you believe that the last moment of your life is this choice between light and dark, and when I say choice, it's not really a choice. It's a pre-programmed feeling that you're going to choose the one you've chosen the most amount of times. You're highly likely to go down that path unless you've somehow prepared yourself with a deep-rooted belief, such as the belief that if you truly accept 100% forgiveness, then you are saved, like a belief like that. Unless you program your brain for your entire life to believe that accepting forgiveness will absolve you of all of that's still a programmed choice to choose a direction. I hope that makes sense. I hope that it expedites the process for someone out there of finding their own purpose, of finding deep meaning and joy and bliss and love and gratitude in the moment you're living, and alleviates anyone suffering, because I know it's been a very, very long, arduous journey for me, to say the least. So just hoping to press the fast forward button on someone's life a little bit. And yeah, I hope that this video finds you well. I love you. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join me on my channel. I would appreciate it so much if you liked the video, shared it with anyone that maybe needed to hear it, and if you subscribe to the channel, that would be amazing. Comment any questions, or check me out on Instagram or Facebook to some extent. I don't actively use Facebook. It's basically just Instagram. If you want to get kind of a more personal look into my life, or message me directly, you can always reach me on there. I do not respond quickly because I despise spending time on my phone, because I think it disconnects me from the reality that I love most. So that's just a note there. But again, I love you and hope that you have an amazing day. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.